Hello and welcome, esteemed guests, to my channel. My name is Ainsley. Let's do stuff. Today I am building the household for a Seven Toddler Challenge. I've kind of seen a few people doing it again lately. It seems like there's been a bit of a resurgence, and I've been watching a lot of 100 baby content, and I have no interest in doing 100 baby, but there's something about the notion of taking care of as many toddlers as possible that I find really intriguing. So what I'm going to do is do a household for this challenge. And I thought about doing this household off camera, but I realized when I booted up the game, this is my first time entering Create a Sim and my first time experiencing story mode. So I thought that I would go through it with all of you to kind of see if we can form the sim. I already have sort of a baseline idea of who the matriarch, or I guess not matriarch if it's not 100 baby, but who, the adult sim in the household is going to be. But I'm not 100% set in stone, so I want to see if going through this will give me any ideas. So, hi, would you like to create my story? We'll start with a fun personality quiz. Afterwards, you can customize my appearance. Okay, let's start with an easy question. What age am I? I think I'm going to have her be a young adult. What kind of group do I want to be a part of? The kind that betters society, me and my imaginary friends, I lead, others follow. I think the kind that betters society is what I'm thinking for this sim. Is anyone out to get you? And I know you can skip questions if you don't like them, but I actually kind of like this question a bit. Is anyone out to get you? I think with this one, I'm going to say, just because I'm paranoid, because I think that I can see the sim having a bit of paranoia. Oh, and it looks like it already landed on our aspiration. What do I save money for? I'm going to skip this question. I'm not that into it. Oh, hold on a second. I'm just realizing when you go through story mode, does it lock this stuff in? I think it might. But you know what? It's fine. I can change it with cheats and from the game and stuff, so it's okay. Someone ate the last slice of my pizza. I can solve this mystery. I'm going to skip this question. The best stories have happy endings, have unexpected plot twists, or are written by me. I have unexpected plot twists. How involved in a child's life would I want to be? Okay, so this definitely seems like an appropriate question for this challenge. I don't know. I was thinking of creating a sim who's a bit in this position, not so much within their will. Maybe I'll put not on my agenda, because I think, isn't that what nannies are for, is really snooty and I don't want to have to take care of my kid, but not on my agenda is just a little bit more well, I don't plan on this necessarily. I feel most rewarded when helping. Oh, perfect. I feel most rewarded when helping people, my cats get out of trees, or myself. I'm gonna put people. The fridge is broken. What do I do? Fix it myself. What defines success? Having many friends, being rich, bettering the world. We're gonna go with bettering the world. How do I feel about routine and structure? I definitely think we're gonna go with sir, yes sir. I see computers as a means to an end, a tool for world domination, or a source of limitless knowledge. I'm gonna go with source of limitless knowledge. Oh, hey, and we're done. Cool, cool. Nice to meet you. Feel free to assign my gender, adjust my appearance, and select my clothing. And don't forget to give me a name. Okay, so, okay, so this kind of works well for me. Now that we're kind of at this stage, I will tell you what I was kind of thinking of doing. And that is a sim who works in some kind of spy agency or whatever behind the scenes, like a bit of a Sharon Carter, for those familiar with the MCU, who's kind of works a bit behind the scenes, is in the organization but isn't the one on the front lines, and there's some villain of the week, big bad, that has this did anybody watch Sky High? A villain that has this ray that turns everyone into toddlers, and so suddenly she has to take care of and re-raise this entire generation of superheroes that have been turned into babies. Because I think I always with these challenges when there's a clear storyline. I'm kind of into the idea that maybe it's oops, I got straddled with all of these babies who used to be adults. So right now we're in the military career with a bonus in fitness, with some writing skill. If the computer was aspiration, so we're a quick learner. And paranoid, which is fair. I feel like if you work for a government organization, that's fair. Hates children, which okay. You know what I mean? I wasn't necessarily seeing her as hating children. I think she maybe just wasn't really planning on having kids of her own, but this could be kind of an interesting trait to have. If you're raising 7 toddlers, it could make this very interesting and also neat. So I like that too, because I think someone who's probably behind the scenes in either a military / CIA-ish type of position is probably a bit type A. So I actually don't hate this. This is pretty cool. And it, other than computer whiz, although if she was, an intelligence officer mining for data, it could fit. Yeah, I actually think this is a pretty good spread, and it goes along with kind of what I was imagining. So let's go into here. I might, for the remainder, just switch on over into a bit of a speed CAS for herself and for the toddlers. So I hope you enjoy. So for the main character, I kind of have been watching a lot of Netflix lately. I was catching up on Designated Survivor, and then I also watched the new season of Mindhunter when it came out. So I had Maggie Q and Anna Torv on the brain, and I think our main sim kind of turns out a hybrid of them both. That was at least my intention anyway. Also, I just want to apologize up front for the wonky audio quality. I don't usually get as much feedback as I've been getting just editing the intro that I did and then now doing this voiceover and listening to it. I don't know, I changed bedrooms. I'm not where I usually am when I'm filming, and I don't know if something down here makes a hum. I'll have to go rooting around for that later. Also, you might notice for this sim, something I don't usually do, there's actually no custom content at all on this sim. I had disabled my mods when we got the update, and then I just didn't think to put my mods folder back in, so I actually didn't have any CC to work with while I was doing this sim, and rather than exiting the game and going back in, I figured, you know what, let's just lean into it. So this is a completely CC free sim. And I will say the only thing I really missed were the eyelashes. I might have to go back in once I start gameplay and just plop some eyelashes on. But other than that, I'm pretty happy with how she turned out. I think around the jawline and the fullness of the lips, that leans more Anna Torv, and then in the eyes and the bridge of the nose and the cheekbones reads a bit more Maggie Q. I wasn't necessarily going for a 50-50 split or something that was super recognizable, just sort of pulling features here and there where I've been really into their shows lately, and when I think, you know, badass lady agent, that's sort of what was coming to mind. I also gave her 2 beauty marks on the same side of her face, one above her lip and one on her cheek, as well as the, diastema between the teeth. I experimented with some scars too because I thought maybe she got those in the line of duty, but I figured if I was going with someone who wasn't really a field agent, that didn't really suit the idea I was going for. And for the hair, I couldn't decide if I wanted to go like a dark brown or black, which I'd imagine would be like a natural hair color, or dye it blonde if I wanted to lean more Agent Hannah Wells or more Olivia Dunham. But the thing is, in the 3rd season, or was it the 3rd season? One of the seasons of Designated Survivor, Maggie Q has like an ombre in her hair, so I was kind of going for that originally, but I just couldn't find anything within the options we have in game that really suited the look that I was going for or that I was imagining. So I use this hair for now, but I do change it to a blonde hair later because I also thought that maybe it should probably be up in a ponytail if she's an agent, so I change it to a blonde ponytail. Also, let me know in the comments below if you watch Designated Survivor or Mindhunter or Fringe, just something to give me some kind of indication that people are following what I am saying and not just going like, yeah, I have watched none of these shows with any of these actresses. Maggie Q was also in Nikita that ran on the CW with Lindsay Fonseca. I don't know, maybe celebrity names don't mean anything to you. I know what most celebrities' names are, at least kind of, and no one else in my family does, so I talk about shows I watch by like what actors are in them, and they're like, yeah, I have no idea what you're talking about. I mean, it's been a few years since I've watched it, but I would recommend Fringe actually if you haven't seen it. It's a really cool like pseudoscience crime show. It really feels like a modern day X-Files is probably a good comparison, and I don't know, it's just one of those really weird like, that's strange kind of shows where there's a lot of like pseudoscience elements and some like alternate universe elements, and it's a good cast, so if you're looking for something to watch and you have access to it, then I would recommend it. Here I'm giving her like a second casual outfit that I'm imagining is just the tank top she has under her blazer and a pair of slippers to wear kind of around the house because I don't think she's always in that button up. She has to have a good range of motion in her arms to be chasing after 7 toddlers. The other Anna Torv show I mentioned, Mindhunter, that's like really good. It's more recent, it's out on Netflix. Major content warning, like it is really for adults. It's quite dark subject matter. The language is graphic. The basic plot is it's set in the 70s. The 2nd season is into the 80s when the behavioral analysis unit at Quantico for the FBI was first being developed, so it kind of follows these 2 FBI partners who are interviewing serial killers to build a profile on serial killers, and Anna Torv plays Dr. Wendy Carr, who's a doctor that they bring in to consult, like a psychology doctor, I'm pretty sure, not a medical doctor. I think that's it anyway, if I'm remembering correctly. But that's like, again, if you can handle darker subject matter, because you do have to be able to handle dark subject matter, but it's a really good show. I powered through the 2nd season. The 2nd season is much much more bingeable than the first. The first season is really disturbing. You kind of want to take breaks. The second season's a bit easier to sit through. Not by loads, but a bit easier. I'm not sure why I went through so much detail to give this sim so many outfits that were like really detailed, because it's the Seven Toddler Challenge. She's never gonna put that party outfit on. Not one single time, I guarantee you. But I don't know, I was having a lot of fun with it. I was kind of in a groove with it. I like the kind of pastel pink sort of with blues and greens color palette that I was going for. It's this nice mix of like feminine and a little bit more, you know, masculine, quote unquote. But I don't know, it was a lot of fun to play with, and it had been a while since I was in Create a Sim, so I just kind of went nuts. And it's especially been a while since I played with like just Maxis content. I might upload a version of her to the gallery that like doesn't have the 7 toddlers with her, just the sim herself for people to download. Let me know in the comments down below if that's something you'd be interested in. She is a really pretty sim, so it would be kind of neat to get a chance to play with her, I think anyway. That's part of the reason that I want to do the 7 Toddler Challenge. I have this really bad habit of getting really invested in like imagining the families that are either going to go into the homes that I'm building or imagining storylines for the Sims I'm doing in CAS. So I find it hard when I'm doing a lot of videos like this and not jumping into some gameplay. And I know it's been a while since there's been an episode uploaded on my A Mermaid's Tale, the Island Living LP that I have on my channel. I have the 3rd episode recorded, I just have to go in and edit it. But I don't know, you know when you feel like you're in a bit of a funk and you're a bit stagnant with ideas, so I'm gonna let that sit to the side for a second and work on this, because I think I'm one of those people who really excels with like achievable goals and something that there's like a clear end date to, which with, you know, the 7 Toddler Challenge, getting them to childhood is kind of your goal, and it's attainable, and it's just like 7 sim days, so it's definitely something that you can do like short and in the moment. It's a SMART goal. Did anybody else have SMART goals in school? Oh my god. Specific, measurable, attainable, realistic, timely. Anyway, I named her Olive Wellington at first, as you'll see, but I actually kind of changed my mind a little bit. It was originally after like Olivia Dunham and Hannah Wells, but I changed it later on because, I don't know, Olive Wellington wasn't rolling off the tongue, so I fused actress name with character name, and I named her Margot Dunn because, you know, Margot, Margaret, Maggie for Maggie Q, and then Olivia Dunham, Dunn, and I found, you know, I liked the sound of that better. So now we're moving on to the toddlers, the former superheroes who've been aged down. I made their adult versions first, or at least for the body shape and like face structure, just because, as we all know from the Toddler to Adult Challenge, things can get kind of wonky when you're making toddlers when they age up, and it's not necessarily that we'll see these characters into adulthood. I don't know, I like to leave open the possibility that maybe we would, and that would never be attainable if you had a toddler aging up to have jumbo eyes, or, you know, a nose that's twice the size that should be on their face. So this character I'm making now is kind of my like Superman stand-in. I give him like the very square jaw and just sort of the typical bulk of the superhero as you'd picture it. I name him Aaron Clarkson, a little nod to Clark Kent. He is such an adorable little toddler, and because he didn't have much like body fat per muscle mass, he's quite a skinny little kid, which is so cute. I dress him in lots of greens and browns. I try to give each kid a bit of a color scheme. And then we are moving on to our next superhero, Isla Kalakaua. I imagined her as being sort of super strong, and I was picturing like Aaron maybe can fly, maybe is the power. I'm imagining that none of them kept their powers, A, because we don't have powers, but B, just, you know, when they were brought back to being toddlers, none of their powers had manifested yet, so that's kind of how I'm going with it story-wise. And not to give away the game, but Isla is maybe one of the cutest toddlers. Although, that being said, I probably shouldn't make that claim too boldly because I think they're all kind of adorable. That's the problem with Sims for toddlers. They're all so cute. Why can't there be just kind of an odd-looking toddler? You know, when you have those kids that you just love to hate? Like, you can't have any of those in this game. They're all so adorable. I remember reading somewhere that, like, in real life, babies are so adorable because they drive you so crazy. They're trying to, like, override your impulse to just throw them out a window at any given moment. moment, which I find kind of hilarious, but it's also true. I guess in real life, there aren't many weird looking babies. Or even if they're weird looking, like that's part of the charm. I have it on good authority that I was a very cute baby. Our next toddler, because I saw the shoes with the lightning bolts on the other kids when I was dressing them, her name is Addison Rush, and she's, I'm imagining, our former speedster. So I gave her some fiery red hair, you know, no connection to the Flash there whatsoever. I'm not trying to draw a parallel. So I tried to give her a bit of a runner's body with like a lean frame and not much muscle mass and kind of some of those more narrow legs, but lots of power in the legs, if that makes sense. It's not the kind of game where you can tell the sliders where to put muscle without like mods or whatever, but I was pretty happy with her. And I mean, again, it's not like you're gonna see the adult form. It does mean that she is an incredibly skinny toddler, but you know, such is the way of it, I guess. And there are those little lightning bolt shoes. I thought about dressing her in red, but that felt too obvious, so I went for a blue color scheme instead, and it's really cute with the red hair. I also gave her the wild trait. I gave them all traits, but I don't think I remember to get all of them on camera. So when you see them at the very end, when I kind of scroll through their outfits, you'll be able to see what trait I gave them. This is Tara Highmore. I was imagining she was maybe kind of able to grow into a giant, sort of like Susan from, what is it, Monsters vs. Aliens? Man, I am full of pop culture references today, but please tell me in the comments below you know what movie I'm talking about. You must have seen it. It's so good. What will people yell when they see you coming down the street? Susan. Susan. It's great. The other thing I didn't do was give them superhero names, so if you guys can think of anything, let me know in the comments down below and we might have to put it into use. Although now I'm partial to just keeping her name Tara. And because I like a good juxtaposition, I gave her really girly outfits because she's such a muscly sim. And the next sim is Dev Chakrabarti. He's a shapeshifter. I was imagining he can shapeshift into a tiger. The sim that automatically generated his sort of facial hair and the outfit kept making me think of Jafar from Disney's Aladdin, who I think turns into a snake at one point in the movie, and then I was thinking about Raja, Jasmine's tiger. So I decided to, in my head anyway, because again there's no way to apply it to the game, but that he's a shapeshifter who can turn into a tiger, so I give him some green eyes and a bit of like a reddish brown hair color as a way to sort of reflect that, and then in his toddler form I dress him in some animal themed clothes. There's no real tiger themed stuff, but little bears and dogs and stuff. I did what I could, and I think he's so freaking adorable. And also that adult Dev could totally get it. I didn't give him a super muscly A-line Dorito looking frame the way I gave Aaron, but I didn't make him super lean either. I went for something sort of in between that kind of hinted at the strength that's not necessarily a overdone bulky strength like a tiger. And I gave him a very neutral color palette for his outfits because I wanted each toddler to have like a distinct color scheme so they'd be more recognizable when I saw them toddling down the hall. And now we are on to the next sim, Mitchell Arthur. I was imagining he had a sort of art related power. I don't know if anyone watched Charmed. That was like one of my favorite shows growing up, but there was a character in the, I think, 5th season who could draw things that would come to life, and it was the episode where like the girls got turned into superheroes, and I was kind of imagining a bit that is his power. It's something art related, like if he draws something he can animate it. I also made him very ultra blonde because I hadn't done that with any of the child sims yet. There was a lot of darker hair, and I figured, you know, just so that they're recognizable from one another, I wanted to have that bit of diversity between hair color and skin tone so that I wasn't going, oh my god, what toddler is that? Because guaranteed I probably still will be, but this will at least be a little better. I also gave him some freckles and more of a lean frame since his power isn't necessarily something physical. He doesn't necessarily have to be super bulked out, and I wanted to have that kind of variation too between, I mean, they're all superheroes, but sims that are maybe not quite so muscly and sims that are. And the last sim, I couldn't do a superhero lineup without doing an alien sim, you know, something a la Martian Manhunter. And I have to say, I find it just so frustrating that the alien form and the human form don't link the way like the mermaid form, and I believe the vampire form, I don't have vampires, but I've heard told that they do it too, because it was so much flipping back and forth trying to, on the one hand, I didn't want them to be identical. I did like the exaggerated features on the alien sim, but I wanted her human face to still look kinda not proportionally right. And I played around with the skin tone of what I wanted the alien to be. I went with a base of this preset face because I thought it looked the most, well, alien. It's got a very, I don't know, maybe feline or animal look to it, which I really liked. So I kind of went with that and I tried to match her human face. Of course, the proportions are so exaggerated on the alien head that I don't think anyway that you can mimic that with the sliders on, you know, the human sim, but I did give her more sunken eyes, prominent cheekbones, a bit of a shorter face, pointy chin, just to match those two appearances. I also liked giving her the exaggeratedly big eyes because I do tend to go with more small, realistic eyes, most of the time anyway when I'm making sims, so doing the really big eyes was definitely fun. And across the board, she definitely has a very blue pale color scheme, kind of a little silvery. I started by giving her silver hair in her adult form, but then I realized there's no way to copy that to the toddler form, so I go with a red color instead while she's in her human form, and then her alien sim form is bald, which I also think is such a cool look. I want to do more bald sims in general. I don't know why I don't, but I'd like to. It's a cool look. Also, her name, because I haven't mentioned, is Andromeda Galilei, which is pretty cool. You can see me here. I tried like more unnatural skin tones, but instead I decided to just go like super pale, and I left her with no eyebrows because I thought that that was a cool look, because I wanted her to still look not quite human. And these are the outfits I'm just flipping through, showing you how they're all set up. I didn't do formal or party because I don't see a point, but otherwise I kept them, you know, as close to the color scheme as I could. I think Addie has the most variation. It's kind of a red and blue, more red, more blue, depending on the outfit. But yeah, that is The Sims. I do hope you enjoyed this little Create a Sim video and that you are excited for the Let's Play to come. I do have the speed build where I built the house that the Let's Play will take place in, which will either come before or after I start posting episodes of the Let's Play. I'm not sure. I'm really itching to get into gameplay, so it might be after rather than before. But that does bring us to the end of the video, so please do leave a comment, a like, and subscribe to my channel if you like the content and are excited for the Let's Play. And until next time, get out there and do stuff.